This is really an exciting time for me because, I've had the opportunity to sit and reflect with our team. And even with so many of our parents, we've held about 17 total, I believe, community parent roundtables and community forums to get feedback on Vision 2030. And during that time, I had an opportunity to kind of walk down memory lane with some of our parents on Vision 2025, recalling the excitement around the launch of that vision and everything that we focused on. And so tonight will be an opportunity to take a look back at 2021 to 2025, really focusing not just on statistics, but on strategies and priorities and everything that we've accomplished collectively as a school division. So this presentation will be long, spoiler alert, and it should be because we are covering a 4-year period of tremendous amount of work that has gone into realizing Vision 2025. And together we've built some incredible momentum, and there's a lot to celebrate as we plan ahead for Vision 2030. Of course, I want to start with our vision for Prince William County School to ensure that every student graduates on time with the knowledge, skills, and habits of mind necessary to create a thriving future for themselves and their community. And those are not just words on the page. What it means is that if students matriculate through our system, when they leave, our job does not end when we hand the diploma on the stage. If we have prepared our children well, they should be able to go on and acquire rewarding careers through multiple pathways of their choosing, experience economic mobility, and live a purpose-driven and fulfilling life. And that's what this vision represents for Prince William County. A few fast facts on Prince William County. We are the second largest school division in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We're the 34th largest in the nation, and we are the most diverse county in the Commonwealth of Virginia and the 10th most diverse in the nation. Our students represent 159 countries with over 170 languages spoken. Our enrollment back in 2023 peaked at just over 91,700. Now we're just over 90,000, reflecting the changing landscape of Northern Virginia and the decline in birth rates across the country. In PWCS, we do believe that our superpower is our diversity, and you'll see projected here the diversity of our population that I just described. Our minority students have increased from 72% at the launch of Vision 2025 in 2022 to 75% now in 2025. One of our fastest growing populations in the school division is our English learners, and you'll see that there's been an increase from 27% to 29%. We've also had an increase in our students with disabilities from 13% to 16%, and around 36,000, that's about 40% of our students actually qualify as what is identified as economically disadvantaged. This diversity really brings unique needs and requires targeted support within our school system. PWCS is the largest employer in Prince William County, growing from when we started the strategic plan, we were at 12,138 full-time employees, which would include 6,541 actual certified teachers. That was in 2022. To now, we're over 13,000 full-time staff, including 7,970 teachers today, and a total workforce of nearly 20,000 when we include our subs and temps. So together, these facts really underscore not just the diversity, but the strength of our school community and our county. We have 6 core values in Prince William County, which include equity, inclusivity, innovation, integrity, resiliency, and well-being. And these are the principles that define our division and undergird our ongoing success. As a part of the development of the strategic plan, we also developed the profile of a graduate. And the profile of a graduate really guides us in preparing students for life after Prince William County. And it describes in our vision, when we talk about habits of mind, that represents our profile of a graduate. It describes the habits of mind we seek for our graduates, and those habits of mind include being critical thinkers, responsible digital citizens, innovators, visionaries, resilient individuals, and global collaborators. And we are confident that students who embody these traits will not only realize the vision of Prince William County Schools, but go on to achieve success in life after PWCS. We have 4 key commitments in the strategic plan, and these key commitments will continue to ground us in Vision 2030 as well. And so the presentation will be broken into 4 components to represent each of the 4 key commitments and what we've accomplished to date across those 4 commitments. Those commitments include learning and achievement for all, positive climate and culture, family and community engagement, and organizational coherence. We also have pretty lofty goals in the 2025 strategic plan. They're called our WIGs, our wildly important goals. And our singular most important goal is 95% on-time graduation rate. So you'll see that's the number 1 goal as highlighted in the 4 disciplines of execution. Every organization should have wildly important goals. You will see some other sub-goals throughout the evening, but these are our wildly important ones. And these unify our priorities that guides our decisions and actions for students across every grade level. In order to achieve a 95% graduation rate, and you'll see that any school system in the nation will have strong targets for on-time graduation. After all, the goal is as students matriculate through our system, we should be graduating them on time, prepared for success post-secondary. The essential drivers of this number 1 goal is reducing our chronic absenteeism by 5%. We know that students who are in school on time every day will be on time for graduation. We also wanted to address the fact that our English learner dropout rate was significantly higher than every other student population group in our county. So we set this as a wildly important goal to decrease English learner dropout rate by 10% over the course of the 4-year strategic plan. And we also established a goal for 85% proficiency on SOL across core content areas. Again, these were some pretty lofty goals, especially considering that the 2025 strategic plan launched during the pandemic. We were just coming back to in-person learning, and we had a lot of learning loss there, but yet we wanted to make sure that we set our expectations high for our students. So I'll go through some of where the data shows we currently are as it relates to our wildly important goals, looking first at chronic absenteeism. If we define chronic absenteeism, it represents the number of days that a student misses in comparison to the number of days of required attendance. So to address chronic absenteeism, missing 10% of school days would be considered chronically absent. And so we aim to reduce this by 5%. At the launch of the strategic plan, our chronic absenteeism was a staggering 23.1% for the 21-22 school year. By the end of the 4-year strategic plan, chronic absenteeism dropped to 16.4%. That's a 6.7 percentage point reduction. And so this essential driver goal has not only been met, but also exceeded. Moving into dropout rate. As for the dropout rate, we did more than move the needle. We really redefined what was possible, particularly for our students who are English learners. Our essential goal was a 10% decrease in overall dropout rates for our English learners. If you see here on the screen, in 2022, our overall dropout rate for all student populations was 6%, with English learners experiencing a dropout rate of 24.4%, and our Hispanic students' dropout rate at that time was 12.2%. At the end of July of this last school year, July 2025, our overall dropout rate for all students has reduced 2.2 points. English learners decreased 10 points to 14.9%, so we achieved that goal in reducing our English learner dropout rate by 10%. And then you'll also see that our Hispanic student dropout rate also decreased by 4 points to 8.1%. This achievement was reached through targeted student support, strategic investments, and a commitment across all schools from our educators, our administrative staff, and support from our external partners to ensure that every student is graduating on time. Moving into SOL pass rates. So our last essential or wildly important goal is improving our SOL pass rates, and we set a goal for 85%. In 2022, PWCS SOLs are rated as following. In reading, we were at 75%, writing 69%, history 69%, math 67%, and science 63%. And during the life of the strategic plan, we saw some of the most significant improvements in our student performance. So you'll see here where the most growth occurred were in writing, math, and science, which reached their highest performance over the course of the last 4 years. Our writing scores rose by 6.5 points, reflecting our literacy efforts. Math pass rates increased by 7 points, marking a strong recovery post-pandemic, and science improved by 6.4 points, which is noteworthy progress. I do want to address the fact that reading did remain stagnant. You'll see we were at 75 and we're at 75.5%. So we didn't meet our goal of 85%, which we knew was a stretch goal. But what I will acknowledge in the hard work of our educators across all schools, what you'll see is that Prince William County Schools, for the growth that we have over the last 4 years, we have improved, or our students are growing at a faster rate than our regional peers. So if you look across school divisions across the region, you'll see growth over the last 3 years to the tune of about 2 to 3%, whereas we have doubled and in some cases tripled that in Prince William County as you look at our writing, our math, and our science scores. In terms of literacy, it's important to note that just 2 years ago, we implemented the Virginia Literacy Act, and I will say that we're seeing some promising data that's coming from our early literacy results, where we're seeing stronger readers and writers in the early years that will be matriculating through our system. So we are confident that as we move it, we were expanding now VLA to middle schools this year, and so we are confident that we'll be seeing leaps and bounds in reading as we see the return on investment from the VLA. Moving into graduation rate. And just another finer point I want to put on SOL, because we didn't reach the 85%, that is a goal that you should expect to see continue in Vision 2030. Closing out our wildly important goals is graduation rate. So the goal for graduation rate was 95%. And unfortunately, rounding to the nearest whole number doesn't count here. We met 94.8%, which is an all-time high for Prince William County Schools, but just shy of the 95%. So I cannot say that this goal was outright met, but I'm really proud of the work that has happened in the school system and the efforts that we've made. So I want to look at when we started the strategic plan, the graduation rate for all students was 92.8%. Our students with disabilities graduated at a rate of 90.9%, and our English learners were at 75.1%, and Hispanic students at 84.8%. That was during the 21-22 school year when the strategic plan launched. Today, you'll see significant improvements. I noted the 94.8% graduation rate, which is a rise of 2 percentage points, the highest graduation rate in recent history of the school division. And additionally, you know, I always kind of go back to that old saying that a rising tide lifts all boats, and you'll see that to be true here. In 2025, every student demographic rose in graduation rates. Our students with disabilities, I'm so incredibly proud of this, our students with disabilities were the only student population that hit the 95% outright. As a matter of fact, they exceeded that. Remember, they were at about 90% in 2022, and now they are at 95.2%. So that is something for us to celebrate. And our English learners earned an 83% graduation rate, which is also up from about 75% in 22, and Hispanic students earned a 90.1% graduation rate. So in every single demographic group, our students have improved graduation rates in leaps and bounds. So now what I would like to do is go commitment by commitment and take a look at starting with commitment 1. The lion's share, so there's a lot of information that I'll share here. The lion's share of the strategic plan really is in learning and achievement for all, which is where it should be, because after all, our core business is education. And so you'll see a lot of the promises that we made towards academic excellence so that every single student has a fair shot to succeed. I'm going to start with, and we certainly established ambitious goals for 2025. I want to start with early college and career. So our first objective was for 60% of graduates to earn at least one early college or career credential. In 2022, the first year of the strategic plan, only 39% of graduates achieved this, mainly through AP, IB, Cambridge, and some dual enrollment courses. So just focusing first on college credentials, because we have two things here. We've got college, where you can earn early college credits through advanced courses, and then we also have career credentials through CTE. So you'll see that that number, if we look at early college credits, that number rose from 39% to 45.7%. Where you're going to see our biggest earners in this goal is with our CTE graduates who have exceeded the goal of 60%. They are currently at 65%, earning one or more college or career credentials. This reflects a 6.7 percentage point rise in graduation achievement for our CTE earners, which is due to so many of the efforts towards inclusion and expansion of CTE courses, which I want to thank the board for being supporters of CTE. Each and every one of you have supported the expansion of CTE, while at the same time understanding that we have to do both. We have to prepare students for both college and career. So I'm proud to share that more students are pursuing post-secondary options due to a focus on equity and access. In 2022, I'm moving into SAT. Going back to this idea that we have to do both college and career. One of the things that I've always said, there's been a debate in education of what should pre-K-12 education be focused solely on college, or should it be career? And I say it should be both. If we say that we want students to have multiple pathways towards a rewarding career, then that means that they have a choice. Having a choice means that they have to also see themselves as capable of being able to access college, so that they're not choosing another choice because they don't see themselves as a college-going student. So we should be preparing students for every single avenue that is possible and afforded to them. And because of that, we have taken a stance of making sure that we remove barriers for students to access opportunities that will allow them to see themselves as a college-going student, starting with SAT participation. In 2022, only 2,756 juniors, which is about 49% of the actual junior cohort, took the SAT, which required an out-of-pocket fee. And I just shared with you a few slides earlier the percentage of our students that qualify for free and reduced lunch. So this ostensibly was a barrier for students, considering that 40% of our students are classified as economically disadvantaged. Since that time, what we've done in PWCS is we've made the SAT available to all students, and that free of charge, where we cover the fee for students to actually take the exam through SAT day during the day, so parents don't have to worry about taking them somewhere else to take the assessment. They can come to school and take it during the school day. And participation increased 102%, going from 2,756 students participating to 5,577 students participating. In 2022, the College Board reported that 50% of our juniors met the SAT, both in reading, evidence-based reading and writing, as well as math, but keeping in mind that that was the lowest participation that we had. And so that 50% really only equated to about 1,378 juniors that were actually taking the SAT. When all juniors were given the opportunity, 5,577 took the SAT, with 41.1% meeting the benchmark standards in both evidence-based reading and writing. So with removing that barrier, it may appear that the performance went down, but considering that more students actually had access to the exam, it really means that 914 additional students actually reached the benchmark. Moving into advanced course participation. So we set a goal to increase participation in advanced coursework by 10%, and this really was an equity-driven initiative to make sure that underrepresented groups of students were accessing advanced coursework when they qualified to be in those courses. And so we set a goal to increase participation in advanced coursework by 10%, with a specific focus on underrepresented groups that reflect the diversity of our student population. In 2022, 47.9% of eligible students took took part. 46.4% Black students, 12.9% English learners, 32.2% of that population were Hispanic, and only 11.2% of the students who were taking advanced coursework at that time at the beginning of the strategic plan were students with disabilities. And I'm really happy to report that by 2025, 55.7% of eligible students participated, marking a 16% overall increase in access to advanced coursework, which surpasses the goal that was set. Participation rose notably amongst the subgroups that I identified, especially taking a hard look at our English learners, who were up 9.7 points, and our Hispanic students were up in participation 10 points, as well as our students with disabilities at 5 points. And I want to note that it's not just participation that increased. We're also increasing in our outcomes. So the notion that we didn't change any of the coursework, we didn't water down any of the curriculum, we made sure that eligible students not only accessed those courses, but they also had trusted adults within their school where they can work with teachers who checked in on them to make sure that they had the support to be successful in the courses. So what you'll see is in 2022, and Karina talked a little bit about this, I should have made her come up here and be my partner in this presentation. In 2022, 5,244 of our students took 9,350 AP exams, keeping in mind that a single student can take more than one exam. So that's why you see more exams than you see students. And at that time, we had a 56% pass rate. Ensuring that there's equitable access to advanced coursework and rigor does not reduce outcomes in any stretch of the imagination. I am of the mindset that students rise and fall on expectation. We shouldn't be concerned about setting the bar too high and students not meeting it. What we should be concerned with is setting the bar too low and they actually meet that bar and have a false sense of achievement. What we see here is when we set expectations high and we have support for our students, they can rise to the occasion, and that is exactly what they did. After 4 years, what we now have is 7,644 students in 2025 who took 14,500 AP exams, and the pass rate also increased from 56% to 68%. So performance did not go down. Our students actually performed even higher, and we're really proud of that work, and we're proud of the work that our teachers have done to support students to be able to realize and achieve these goals. As far as CTE credentials, there's been impressive, beyond what we could have imagined or hoped for, impressive gains toward PWCS graduates earning at least one early career credential. If you look at the right side, the left side of the slide, it really shows where we were in 21-22, which was the beginning of the strategic plan. And you'll see a couple of categories here that I will call out. The first category reported is state licensures, where we had 18 students who graduated from Prince William County, and upon graduation, they walked out the door with a state licensure. You'll also see workplace readiness skills assessments passed, was a little over 2,000. We had about 3,300 industry certifications achieved, and about 4,751 students who earned one or more credentials, for a total, across all categories, 5,489 total credentials that were achieved. Now, when you look at that in comparison, you'll see some big improvements where in 2024, our state licensures went 24-25 school year, our state licensures over the course of the 4-year strategic plan have grown from 18 to 150. Workplace readiness improvements from 2,000 to 5,600. Industry certifications went from 3,360 to 21,265. Also keeping in mind that students can earn multiple credentials. And students earning one or more credential was at 4,751. Today it is at 23,568 with a total of 27,049, which is why you can see that our CTE students have just blown the goal of 60% out of the water. I do want to highlight our 8 CTE program areas, which includes agricultural education, and I want to call out specifically under agricultural education our award-winning and thriving turf field program at Brentsville High School. According to VDOE, turf field falls under agricultural education, but it is a true turf field management program and one of the CTE programs that are big earners that we're proud of. Business and information technology, family and consumer sciences, health and medical sciences, marketing education, military science, technology and engineering education, and trade and industrial education. So those are our core CTE areas. And each of those fields has a variety of pathways for students to explore and master, which means our students receive the depth and breadth of their chosen content specialty while working towards that credential in Prince William County Schools. So you'll see that we have both met and exceeded nearly every target for CTE. I really want to call out the work of our CTE teachers. They are absolutely phenomenal. I've had an opportunity to visit many of their classrooms. You saw an award-winning CTE teacher being presented here tonight as an administrator. And I also want to acknowledge that the reason you see a lot of the improvements here, the significant improvements, is when we launched the strategic plan, we did a call to action to our business community and our community leaders, and they really stepped up and answered the call, and they have been a game changer in ensuring, working with our CTE teachers and programs and ensuring that our students were able to earn the credentials that they have that really changes the trajectory and course of their lives as they leave Prince William County Schools. I also want to highlight a special bright spot in Prince William County and move to look at Project Search and Employ, which is a program specifically tailored for our students with disabilities. And you'll see I called out that that was the one student population that hit the 95% graduation rate. And you'll be able to see easily why we have so many thriving partnerships that are geared towards supporting our students with special needs. And so a quick thank you to the Employ team and Project Search for their work preparing students with disabilities for post-secondary careers. I'm so proud of this work. We set out to create a division-wide employee framework. Our employee teachers and leaders are amazing, and our partner businesses have been so good to our PWCS students. I want to call out Todos Neighborhood Market, Westminster at Lake Ridge, and UVA Health for helping us to achieve our goals. You'll see the numbers on the screen here. In 2 years in a row, back-to-back, 24 and 25, the Chamber of Commerce awarded Prince William County the Partnership of the Year Award for our work with Explore Todos, as well as our work with Project Search Westminster. And then you'll see for our Project Search students through UVA Health Employment Outcomes, 74% of our graduates have received a competitive employment offer upon completion of that program. And for Explore Todos, 67% of graduates have received a competitive employment offer upon graduation. And right now, the number of students participating increased from 10 in 23 to 60 projected for 2026. Another fan favorite of the strategic plan is the Virginia Seal of Biliteracy. The strategic plan introduced a credit by exam option for bilingual and multilingual. And I tell you, I didn't set this up to have our students, Russian-speaking students being here tonight, but that was a nice ad for this evening as I present the Virginia Seal of Biliteracy. They really represent what this seal means to us. It's approved by the VDOE, enabling our multilingual and bilingual students to earn up to 3 high school credits and qualify for the Virginia Seal of Biliteracy. And our goal was to increase the number of seals awarded by 5%, and we met that goal. To date, 1,019 students have earned the seal, and nearly 1,248 total world language credits have been granted through assessment testing. So you see the numbers there. Most impressive, you'll see in 22 to 23, when we were tracking this, we were only at 230 students earning the seal, and today we are at 1,248, which I am just over the moon about and excited to see that programming continue to grow and thrive in Prince William County. We've also, in the strategic plan, adopted curriculum And so over the course of the last 3 years, I talked a little bit about the Virginia Literacy Act. We did adopt language arts curriculum. We also recently this year, following the literacy adoption, we adopted a new math curriculum to the tune of a $13 million investment with over 98 training sessions, and put some intentionality also behind science participation. That showed up as a bright spot in the strategic plan. As you'll recall, we really had a goal to make sure that we increase participation in science fair. What you'll see here is that we have nearly doubled in student representation, high school participation, and projects submitted. Our expectation is to have 100% of our high schools participating, especially with the school board's new Fuse initiative, which offers grants for students to be able to participate. So we're really excited to see the growth in regional science fair participation, and we're expecting, we have right now 11 high schools that participated, up from only 6 in 2021-22, and this year we're expecting all 13 high schools to have projects in the regional science fair. We've set some lofty goals for work-based learning experiences and summer employment. So despite many of the challenges that we've had with curriculum and creating opportunities outside the classroom, CTE really remains strong in terms of drawing our businesses to the community, to PWCS for support. And I talked a lot about our business community, but the numbers here really tells you why I'm so proud of the work that our business community is doing to step up for kids. You'll see in 21-22, when we made the call to action to our business and community leaders to support our students by making sure that we increased the number of actual work-based learning business partners that we had. We started at 48. We set a goal at 350. We surpassed that goal. For 24-25, we now have 373 formal CTE partnerships. And so the data that I'm going to talk about next, whether it be summer employment or internships, could only be possible because our business community has stepped up to invest in our students. So what you'll see here is that we set an ambitious goal over the 4 years of the strategic plan to ensure that by 2025, we would have a cumulative 3,500 rising juniors and seniors who would have achieved summer employment opportunities. And we didn't just meet that goal, we exceeded that goal with a total of 4,405 summer jobs for juniors and seniors over the course of the 4-year strategic plan. And you'll see the number of summer employment offers to our students year over year for a total of 4,405. And then we also set goals around not just work-based learning experiences, but also summer employment, but also to include internships and apprenticeships. And so we set a goal that we would have by 2025 a total of 500 graduating seniors walking out the door with an internship in their back pocket. We started in 21-22 with only 91 internships, and you will see that we nearly doubled the goal of 500 with 900 plus total internship experiences earned over the course of a 4-year period, with the highest amount awarded just last year in the 24-25 school year. You know, at the start of this presentation, I defined the school system success by not just our graduation rates, but making sure that our students can achieve success post-secondary. And so we were committed to making sure that our students have a plan for what happens after graduation. Every graduation that I attend, I sit on the stage, and for every single student that walks across that stage, I'm always wondering what is next for them, because I want them to have a thriving future when they leave Prince William County, which is why we set a goal to make sure that, number one, we invest in high school, college, and career counselors. And I want to thank the board, because in the very first year of the strategic plan, the board invested in ensuring that every single high school had a college and career counselor. That was a goal in the strategic plan. That goal has been met. We also set a goal to make sure that every graduating senior had a concrete post-secondary plan. What that means is that every senior has an opportunity to have a conversation with a trusted adult, a knowledgeable adult that can help guide what their future goals and plans are, because we know that a student that has a plan has a higher probability and likelihood of being successful in post-secondary and realizing their good dreams and goals. And speaking about college, we know that one of the number one barriers to students accessing post-secondary education is a financial challenge, a financial barrier. So we set a goal to increase the number of scholarship dollars earned in Prince William County, and we set that goal to the tune of $260 million. What you'll see here is that over 4 years, our students have reported over $492 million in scholarships, and you'll see the year-over-year amount for that cumulative total. So we started the strategic plan with students reporting $91 million in scholarships. That number has grown every single year of the strategic plan, with the final year of the strategic plan being the absolute highest of the four, with over $159 million in scholarships awarded in a single year. And what's especially powerful is that this growth has come even as our graduating cohorts have actually gotten smaller due to enrollment losses, meaning more scholarship dollars per student and more doors open for our graduates and their families. Commitment 1 definitely was our most robust commitment that directly affects the instructional core and the relationship between our students, our teachers, and the curriculum. It contains the majority of our strategic plan goals. So to close out Commitment 1, I would like to take a look at several notable highlights over the course of the 4 years of work that we've done together. What you see here is what I presented to you back in April of 2024 when we did a check-in on the strategic plan. And you'll see where some of the goals were green. We also had some that were approaching and red. Green basically means we have either met or exceeded the goal. Yellow suggests that we were in an implementation phase, made significant progress, but the actual goal has not yet been met. Red means that we were completely off track or the goal was not met at all. So you'll see where we were in April 2024 in our progress on key strategies for learning and achievement for all. And now as we close Strategic Plan 2025, here's where we are. We have turned some reds and yellows to green, starting with our $260 million in scholarship. We hadn't gotten there when I presented to you back in 2024. I'm so proud, especially because now Karina is a sitting board representative who was one of the students that presented the Student Bill of Rights. So now that is green because we have completed the Bill of Rights and we presented that to the full school board. And our students have that to be proud of, to represent their voice. We also we now have made good on the addition of dual language immersion programs. And I know at least one of our board members can speak to that because they have a student in dual language immersion. And we now have data that shows that we met our goal for dropout rate for English learners. Where we didn't, we weren't meeting the goal but have made significant progress is in 3 areas. The STEM career development. What I want to say about the STEM career development is originally in the strategic plan, we were thinking of a singular STEM center, and we made a pivot about midway through the strategic plan, and we already had existing school-based creation centers like the River Oaks Elementary School's Amazon Web Services Think Big Space, and we also have in the West the Cedar Point the Tech Lab, inspired by Qualcomm's Think-A-Bit Lab. So we had those 2, and they were open for field trips. So when we realized that the STEM Center wasn't something that could be accomplished or that it wouldn't reach as many students as we would have hoped for, we decided to build 2 additional STEM centers, one at Innovation Elementary School and another thriving STEM center at Neabsco Elementary School, both of which are open and serving as field trip sites for other schools to come and visit. So that's why we marked that as yellow, because although we did commit to a standalone STEM center, we did not accomplish that, but we have made progress in creating more accessible opportunities for STEM in the school division. So we mark that as approaching. And then, of course, I talked about SOL. That's yellow because we did not hit the 85%. It doesn't matter how lofty the goal was. We set the goal at 85, and we missed the mark on that. But I marked that as approaching because we have made significant progress, growth, and strides that we should be proud of. Our teachers have done. It's been a Herculean effort, especially coming out of the pandemic, to see the kinds of gains that we've gotten in writing, in math, and in science, which I I have already stated, has outperformed our regional peers. So we have marked that as yellow, and you should expect to see that 85% continue into the 2030 strategic plan. And then universal design for learning, we marked that as approaching as opposed to off track because we did offer the training. That was another pivot in the strategic plan where we offered that training throughout the school division, but implementation, we did not have fidelity of implementation with that, so we could not mark that as a goal that was met. So that concludes progress updates for learning and achievement for all. Lots to celebrate, some misses that we've had in the strategic plan, but also a lot of growth that we are proud to acknowledge. So moving into our second key commitment, which is positive climate and culture, which is our promise to provide a welcoming, supportive, and safe environment for teaching and learning. And again, we've established several ambitious targets to support positive climate and culture. I'm going to start with some data that was brought up a little bit earlier. I think Mr. Jesse and Dr. Lateef talked about retention, and Donna touched on this a little bit, where we're going to give the progress because that was actually a goal in the strategic plan. So we established a goal to retain 90% of our certified staff. In 2022, the division was at an 89. At the end of the 21-22 school year, which was the first year of the strategic plan, we were at 89.9% for retention rate. We probably set that goal a little bit too low. It was at 90%, and we were already at 89.9. But I am happy to report that our retention rate is currently, at the conclusion of the strategic plan, increased to 94.5%, surpassing the original objective. Also, you'll see here that our objective was to boost the diversity of our teaching staff by 5%. So the goal was to increase by 5%. In 2022, the workforce diversity was at 25.3%. But by 2025, we've reached 33.3%, surpassing our target of 5% with a total increase of 8 percentage points there. I also want to highlight one of the ways that we significantly increased our diversity. I spoke a little bit earlier about the fact that we are the most diverse county in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and our students represent over 159 countries. And so we committed in the strategic plan to hire a minimum of 350 international teachers. We started the strategic plan with 110 international teachers, and today we now employ 396 international teachers representing the countries that our students are from. And so we've exceeded the goal of 350. We also set a goal to retain 95% of our school administrators. We were at 92% retention at the start of the strategic plan, and today we are at 94.5% in 2025. One of the things that I want to highlight that shows up as some of the key strategies that we employed in the strategic plan and how we got here to these numbers really was an aggressive marketing campaign that was done around retention and diversity, and it has been tied to our hiring campaigns. For one, you'll see in the strategic plan, You Belong Here was a key initiative. And You Belong Here really fulfilled our goal of creating inclusive school cultures to attract and retain top talent in making PWCS a top choice for employment. Also, to address the national teacher shortage, Human Resources and Communications ran an aggressive marketing campaign, earning over 20 million impressions and nearly 39,000 application site clicks. This led to a record high of more than 2,400 new applicants just in March of 2025, where April of 25 nearly matching that number, showing ongoing success in meeting staffing needs. We also knew that more had to be done as we addressed the teaching shortage. So a couple of big initiatives in the strategic plan that we've delivered on that has brought more teachers to our schools. One of our strategies was Teachers for Tomorrow. That's what we call the Grow Our Own Teachers program. In 2021, we had 6 of our 13 high schools active in the Ed Rising program with approximately 100 members, and we committed to growing that program across all high schools. That goal has been met. In 2025, all 13 PWCS high schools offer Teachers for Tomorrow courses with an estimated 279 members. That's a full pipeline from PWCS classrooms to college to careers built right here in Prince William County. To date, I'm so proud that we've hired 79 graduates from this program, and we have 57 more that are currently enrolled in college and programs pursuing teaching credentials. It is such a beautiful thing to see our students go through this program, earn their degrees, and come back and give back to the same communities that gave so much to them. Another initiative that was a big one for Prince William County was the VCU Teacher Residency and Apprenticeship Program. We are the first large district in the Commonwealth of Virginia to implement the VCU Teacher Residency and Apprenticeship Program, and I'm happy to report that we're a trailblazer in this space. Through our partnership with VCU, we've accepted 20 new candidates for this school year. We've engaged 42 active cohort members, and since 2023, we've hired 13 teachers who've earned their graduate degrees and have committed to staying in Prince William County for at least a minimum of 3 years. We also, in Positive Climate and Culture, I want to turn our attention to sustainability, and you just had a sustainability presentation in the last board meeting, and there's a lot of successes in sustainability, but this one particular goal we did not meet. Unfortunately, although we do have some big wins in sustainability, we sought to reduce 10% of division-wide building greenhouse gas emissions year over year, and we've achieved by 2025 a 1.5% emissions reduction through the reporting period ending June 30, 2025. I do want to note that part of that includes an addition, which was a pivot in the strategic plan in incorporating transportation into that. So we do believe that we'll see some bigger gains moving into the future. We also recently completed several energy efficiency projects that are noteworthy. So we're optimistic that these will significantly improve our progress towards the 10%. This is something that we'll continue to work towards in Vision 2030 to reduce our overall emissions. Some of the projects that are going towards the FY26 includes solar at 6 sites, geothermal at Bel Air Elementary School, LED lighting at multiple sites, and retro commissioning of automation controls and mechanical systems at several of our sites. And then finally, for just this area of sustainability, we did identify in the strategic plan that we would have a K-12 environmental literacy curriculum at 100% of our schools, and that goal has been accomplished. Moving into safety, and this is more about physical safety. Over 4 years, PWCS has invested heavily in safety and security, and that has been a top priority for the school division and for this board. We implemented Evolve in all middle and high schools back in 2023. In 2025, at the conclusion of the Vision 2025, we experienced a 63% decrease in the number of disciplinary code incidents, a 70% decrease in possession of a knife, and a 100% decrease in both possession of a taser and a firearm. That means 0 firearms reported in Prince William County schools since we implemented Evolve. We also erected the first of its kind in Prince William County Schools Security Operations Center. This is our centralized hub for responding to safety concerns and managing incidents in real time. The Security Operations Center team has handled, to date, nearly 3,000 calls, coordinated over 1,000 events, and delivered more than 1,900 incident communications, all with a 99% response rate. So if we take a look at the progress that we've made on some of the key strategies in Positive Climate and Culture, which is Commitment 2, what you see here is where we were when we did the check-in back in, and you'll see this will be the theme for the next 2 commitments as well. I'll always go back to where we were when I did the check-in with you, and then where we are at the conclusion of the 4-year strategic plan. So this is where we were in April of 24. We had not yet fully realized the succession planning, launching the talent management development plan. We were also red in green ribbon schools because we set a goal to have 5 green ribbon schools, so that was red. And then we had set a goal for a 90% satisfaction rate for middle schools and the middle school students. And the reason we set that is because the satisfaction rate for middle school students is the lowest in the school division. And so here's where we are today. So what you'll see is that we made good on completing the launch of a talent management development department, which is really driven towards both succession planning, leadership development, and ensuring that our employees understand a path towards promotion and as they continue to lead with us in Prince William County. So a lot of work is being done in that department. And you'll also see what turned green is our green ribbon designation. Now let me talk a little bit about the green ribbon designation because it's tricky. So I'm counting this as green because although technically we had 4, this year we had number 5 with Belmont Elementary School, but the federal U.S. Department of Education eliminated the program this year. However, Virginia did recognize Belmont Elementary School as an honoree, so that means we've got 5. That's a green check mark for our green ribbon schools. While our middle school student satisfaction rating is still down, we will be targeting that for the next 4-year strategic plan. We're not letting go of that goal. We're going to continue to work towards making sure that our middle schools are reporting satisfaction in their schools. So as we strengthen climate and culture inside our schools, I also want to turn our attention to the fact that we cannot do that without deepening our partnership with everyone around them, which is our families and our communities and our business leaders. And so that moves us into family and community engagement, which is commitment 3. One of the goals we had in family and community engagement was to have 100% of our schools have a business partner invested in their school community to help advance their school improvement goals, and we've delivered on that promise. You'll see here that now 100% of our students have a business partner, or some of them have multiple business partners to advance their continuous improvement goals. We also set a goal to have a parent liaison in every single school, and we met that goal in the first year of the strategic plan when the board approved an investment to ensure that every school had a full-time FTE parent liaison to bridge the gap between home and school. We've also exceeded participation in our family engagement series events for targeted populations. We also set a goal that by 2025, we would have 85% of our schools with a high-functioning school advisory council. And based on division-wide quality indicators, approximately 97% of our schools now do meet the criteria for having an established council. The one thing that I'll call out here is that you'll see a little bit later that we're marking that as yellow because now they have the councils. The next thing is for us to focus on the quality of what makes that council actually high functioning. So I want to take a look at our family and community engagement series that continues to grow. Our family and community engagement series now has reached over 19,500 views to date. That's a remarkable increase over the 4-year period. It surpassed our goal of 10% increase for participation for targeted populations. And then nearly 99% of our participants reported feeling better equipped to support their students after attending one of our engagement series, showing that our focus on centralized, accessible family support is having an impact. I also want to call out a key part of our strategic plan was strengthening philanthropic support for our school system through our Spark Foundation. We set a target for Prince William County to raise $10 million through a fundraising goal by 2025. But honestly, we have more than doubled that. We've already raised $22.1 million from cash and in-kind donations, scholarships, grants, and investments through our partnerships with our business communities. All of our schools now have at least one formal business and community partnership, and some of those investments are represented in this 22 million. We also focused on communication and family and community engagement. We wanted to make sure that we consider the fact that our students speak over 170 languages, and we wanted to remove the barrier of communication. And so we brought to the school division two-way messaging through school status. And since we launched school status in 2022, over 30 million translated messages have been sent. Families increasingly engage via email and social media, generating 33.1 million impressions and 1.8 million interactions on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Spanish language sites. And so we're building stronger connections between home and school. So here's the progress on key initiatives and strategies in family and community engagement. Again, taking a look at what occurred in what the check-in was in 2024. So you'll see that we had not expanded our family support through the Global Welcome Center. We also, you'll see here, what was yellow was implementing a systematic approach to create consistency in communication between families and schools, which included tools that we were using. And then what was red was expanding the role in each school for high-functioning advisory councils. The other strategies were green. So this is a look at where we are today. So you'll see that we have expanded the Global Welcome Center. We actually even have renovations that are happening with the Global Welcome Center, so that is now green. And school status is also green. What is yellow is the school advisory councils, and I explained that a little bit. We have established the councils in all schools, but we now are focusing our sights on the functionality of those councils to make sure that they are high functioning. So that closes out our work in Commitment 3. And rounding out our presentation tonight is Commitment 4, Organizational Coherence, which ensures that we're operating as one cohesive and unified school system working towards the same collective vision. This commitment has to do with how we align our financial investments, our resources, our people, and our time. So here are a few key goals for organizational coherence that you see here, and I want to start with one of the key priorities for organizational coherence has been ensuring regionally competitive compensation. And this commitment really demonstrates consistently our commitment to our students, our staff, and our faculty. You'll also see here that we set a goal for ensuring that we're equitably funding our schools for adequacy. And when we say that, we mean that no matter what the size of your school is, if we set a standard of excellence, every school should be able to meet that. Their budget should be able to support that. We also set a goal in organizational coherence to ensure up-to-date digital learning tools and one-to-one technology for all teachers and students. So I'll talk a little bit about where we are there. And then we also set a goal to make sure that every school and office, actually departments also, have continuous improvement plans so that we're continuing to get better as an organization. And you'll see that all of those goals are met, with the exception of the funding for adequacy. That goal has been met, but it won't be realized until the FY27 budget. So we just finalized the methodology and the rules and changes around funding formulas, and so it will be ready for implementation for the FY27 budget that I will be bringing before you. So I want to start first with average salary increases, which is the first bar that you saw there. This commitment has been demonstrated consistently with every PWCS employee receiving annual salary increases from 2022. Looking ahead to next year, staff members will see an average salary increase between 6.8% and 7.4%, along with a 5% increase in benefits. These adjustments result in a cumulative compensation growth of 31.5% to 33.4% over the course of the 4-year period. 4 years ago, PWCS ranked third in entry-level pay for individuals with bachelor's degrees, and we ranked fourth for those with master's degrees. And currently, PWCS offers the highest entry-level teacher salary in Northern Virginia. So that goal in the strategic plan has been met. Moving into digital equity, we've invested $93 million in digital equity to ensure every student has personal technology and that our schools have advanced educational tools. And I want to make an important note here. We centralized this, so no longer do schools have to take that out of their budgets. What we found that there was an inequity where some schools had the funding to be able to upgrade technology, other schools did not have the funding. That created an inequity, and now that it is centralized in our IT department, we are responsible for those refreshes. So we are providing the devices. We're also responsible for the refresh, and that does not come out of the school budget. but it's centrally funded. Also want to call out our focus on customer service. We instituted Zendesk, and our Zendesk system has been used by over 500 plus users, handling 470,000 tickets over the course of the strategic plan since its inception, with an average 19-hour closure rate and achieving a 97.4% satisfaction rate, surpassing our 90% target. That is all curated through the Zendesk platform. It tells us how long it's taking for us to close the ticket, and it counts how many tickets are actually coming through. I also want to take a look at capital improvement, which is a part of organizational coherence. Now, we have gone well above and beyond in capital improvement. We set 2 goals where it relates to capital improvement in the strategic plan. One, we wanted to renovate a minimum of 8 schools and construct our first net zero school replacement. But what you'll see on this screen is since school year 2022, PWCS has funded renovations for 13 schools, not just 8. 8 elementary schools, 4 middle schools, and 1 high school, plus our Global Welcome Center. In this time frame, we've also funded the building of 4 elementary schools, including our first net zero replacement school, 1 middle and 1 high school. Guided by our strategic plan, we've completed other important projects, making investments in both security infrastructure and sustainable construction practices. And some of these projects that you see will not be completed by the end of 2025, but the financial commitment and funds have already been allocated to realize those projects, and those projects are already underway. A couple of additional things I want to call out in organizational coherence is our standards of excellence. In addition to infrastructure work, we also established that we would make shifts in site-based management to norm practices across the school division. One of the biggest levels of feedback that I received when I did my 100-day tour in Prince William County when I was first appointed, from board members, from parents, as well as from teachers, is how with site-based management, there were no norm practices for things that should be normed across the school division. While we recognize that every school has their unique traditions and cultures within their school community, that should remain unique to their school and flexibility should be there. But there are certain things that should be a standard of excellence where there's norm practices across the school division so that there's more support and convenience for students, for teachers, and for families. And so what we've done in response to that is we erected the PWCS Standards of Excellence. And this is an iterative process, but right now we have standards of excellence across academics, education, operations, to make sure that we have norm practices across Prince William County for not only how we operate, but what our expectations for excellence in education should be. So no matter where a parent goes in our school system, they should have minimum expectations for access to excellence in any school that they go in and any school that they attend, and the PWCS Standards of Excellence sets the bar for that. It also defines what's managed centrally as well as what is left to be flexible at the local school site. So here is our progress for commitment for organizational coherence. Again, this is where we were at the little over the mid-year check-in. This is where we were, and you'll see what was yellow and what was red. And so I want to now take a look at where we are today. So at the conclusion of the strategic plan, you'll see that our work with Six Sigma to identify inefficiencies in business processes and guide improvements, that is yellow. It was red. That is underway. Many of the board members, we presented to you that we are adopting a new system, CLICK, for data governance. So it's a lot of processes that we have in place to build greater business efficiencies. So that is not green because we're just starting that this year. So in December 2025, that will not be completed, but we are well on our way for full implementation in the next year. We also marked that you'll see the site-based standards and operational requirements is green because we have launched the standards of excellence, which before that was red. And then you'll also see what's yellow is succession planning through the Talent Management Office. Now that we marked as yellow because we did launch the Talent Management Department, and they are currently working on succession planning and talent development in Prince William County Schools. So that is the status for organizational coherence. As I close out, I know this was a lot of information, but this is our collective work. In 2021, I stated the following quote from Strategy in Action. School systems that focus on the core with a coherent strategy, executed and refined over time, are making progress in fulfilling their vision of supporting all children to learn at high levels, to contribute to their communities, and to be ready for college and career. Our collective progress and growth year over year as a unified school system working towards a singular North Star, that is our vision for PWCS, to ensure every student realizes or creates a thriving future for themselves and their community, really demonstrates that we are living proof of strategy in action. I do want to show here and highlight a few school division recognitions and achievements. Certainly, I'm not going to read this long list, but I wanted to give you a visual and visibility into the work that's been happening in just 4 years. Everything that you see on the screen in terms of acknowledgments is not a culmination of a decade of work or 10 years. It's just the 4. We only included acknowledgments, both local and nationally and statewide acknowledgments for Prince William County Schools over the life of the 4-year strategic plan. There is so much to be proud of in Prince William County Public Schools. No, we are not perfect. Yes, we did not hit the mark in some of our goals and our strategies, but I think that these recognitions and achievements, along with the data that I presented today, shows that there is still so much to be proud of the work that we've done together. And as you know, we are closing out the formation of our next 4-year strategic plan, Elevate 2030, launching Thriving Futures. And our vision will remain the same, as will our mission, our core values. Those tenets that bring stability to the strategic plan will remain consistent, along with our 4 key commitments that were presented here tonight. But Elevate 2030 will be all about developing global competency, personalized and adaptive learning, understanding the age of AI, and teacher empowerment. Our mission is to create an educational environment for students to become explorers, curious, engaged, and invested in lifelong learning. The work that you see here today is not the work of any one person alone. It is the collective effort, dedication, passion for our students of countless educators, staff members, parents, community leaders, business partners, our board, executive leaders and administrators in our schools, and our students. It took the entire school system working together under the belief that every student in Prince William County really can create a thriving future for themselves and their community. And so as we look to the future, I do want to take a quick look back at what we've accomplished in a video as we prepare to Elevate 2030, which is the next chapter. And I also want to extend my gratitude to this board. We launched Vision 2025 together, and you have stayed true to that. You have invested in Vision 2025. Every single year, every investment that came forward was tied to the strategic plan, and we never veered away from that. And that was the only way that we could achieve this, because without the resources, this was just a plan on paper. But for the board investing in this, fully investing in this plan year over year, that is how we realized so much of the success that is accredited to our students, our teachers, our families, our leaders, and the entire community that is Prince William County Schools. So let us elevate to 2030, which is our next chapter, because we are just getting started. Let's take a look back at Vision 2025, launching Thriving Futures.
The Prince William County Schools introduced their new plan to target pandemic learning loss and improve test scores, called Vision 2025.
Today is about launching.
Nice job.
Thriving.
What they learn in school
is applicable in real life.
Futures.
Every student has a story.
What is our goal? To feel like we made an impact.
Every story deserves to be heard, valued, and elevated.
We're going to do phonics.
What we have seen this year in terms of improvement and in terms of student achievement in some grade levels has been nothing short of a miracle.
At Prince William County Public Schools, Vision 2025 was more than just a strategic plan. It was a commitment, a promise, a purpose.
I feel like we're thriving. I think that the strategic plan is challenging. However, anything worth having is a challenge. The thing is, you can't be afraid of the hard work.
We anchored ourselves in excellence, leading with equity, and always walking with integrity.
We're making a sensory kind of music board. So if we press the button, it'll start singing and hopefully she'll sing along.
Every child deserves an adult who is wildly, unapologetically crazy about kids.
Words are not enough. She's my one and only, and to see her with all her achievements, I can't express enough how proud I am.
Across classrooms and communities,
the more we can educate kids early on, the better these kids will grow up.
we saw the impact.
Wait, what's tricky about this word truly?
In raised hands, test scores, 94% graduation rate, and confident voices that say, I belong here.
I passed my AWS SEND certification. I have a job lined up and I'm going to start 2 weeks after graduation.
We aligned our mission, we lived our values, we delivered results, and now we elevate. Elevate now, for every learner, for every dreamer, for every future.
So when we talk about thriving futures, you thrive by working. You thrive by believing we're in this together.
This is PWCS. This is the vision fulfilled, and the next chapter, we are just getting started.
Thank you.